Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the REDX podcast. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Haley Johnson. I'm going to be the host today. We have very special guest. We have Vincent Zaloom here with us. Welcome, Vincent.
Thank you. So excited. You have no idea. I'm so excited to be here with you. All of you.
Yes, we're excited to have you back again. It's been almost a year since you've been on the podcast, so crazy how time flies, but we're excited to have you back. Before we get started on the podcast today, we do have a couple of announcements to talk to everybody about. We are starting a little bit of a podcast series starting next week to help you with the market next year. I know a lot of things are kind of uncertain with everything that's going on and the uncertainty that 2023 holds. So we're doing a podcast episode a day for 6 days. So it's going to be sweet. And we're doing a bunch of giveaways as well during those podcast episodes. So check your email. You'll get more information about it, but it will be awesome. But for now, Vincent, why don't we get started with just a little bit of an introduction for those people that don't know who you are?
How's that possible? How do people don't know who I am?
I know. Crazy.
Okay. So wonderful to be here. Haley, always one of the best hosts in the business, no doubt about it.
Thank you.
My name is Vincent Zaloom. I am a real estate agent and broker since 1983. I currently own and operate a Century 21 real estate office in the New York City area and have been doing so since 1987. Effectively, real estate's been my life. I started when I was 18. I was fortunate enough to open up my first office in 1987. And I'd like to say it's been smooth sailing since, but anybody who's been in the real estate business, even for probably just a few months, understands the nature of what we do. And it is constantly changing. It's constantly evolving, especially with technology. How we do what we do. There are so many things that I continue to do as I did them many years ago, but without technology now, it is you'll be left behind, So
Right.
acclimating yourselves, all of us, because I'm an active real estate professional, folks, right? So I don't do much with buyers, but I do a lot of listing and I do a lot of prospecting. But the reason probably why I'm here today is because I do a lot of speaking, I do a lot of training, I do a lot of coaching, and it's probably what gives me the most joy in the real estate business is to share all of these years of my experiences with you. And keep in mind that I'll never recommend something that I haven't tried myself that I don't think would work and help you benefit your career. And REDX is one of those things, right? So I've been with REDX. It's got to be 15. It's got to be close to 15 years now. And not only is the training and support fantastic, but I don't know how a real estate professional can survive these days without REDX, without the products that they offer. So I'm just thrilled to be here, and I would love to share with you my experiences. And I think what we're going to be discussing today is trying to establish and prepare a business plan, right? So we're already into December. And for those who are used to doing a business plan, they've probably already begun the process, as I have personally. So, and this is one thing that I find because I coach a lot of students, I've trained thousands of students, and this seems to be one of the most neglected parts of what we do, or what we should be doing is charting our course for the new year, right?
Right.
So, and we're getting as close to the new year as we can possibly be getting. So I'm thrilled to be able to do this with you. I think last January or February, I did a prospecting workshop or a prospecting podcast with Haley, which I really love because that to me is like getting this is where we get our hands dirty. It's like getting into the nitty gritty. But today, I think it's really important that we start to consider what we want to accomplish in 2023. So just some tips and pointers that I would love to give you. We don't have a ton of time. I was telling Haley before we went live that this is like what I typically do is like a 3 or 4 hour workshop just on developing a business plan and managing your time properly because they go hand in hand. So I'm going to try to cover a lot of material in a very short period of time.
Let's do it.
So I think that's enough about me, Haley. That's right. They don't want to hear about me. They just want the meat and potatoes. I can't blame them, right? So
Yes, no, that was a perfect introduction, Vincent. I mean, you're not new here. You're not new to the business. So I think this is going to be awesome, especially for new agents who are getting into the market right now. It's just kind of crazy market right now with interest rates continuing to rise and things that are going on. You mentioned technology and the need to adapt. I think I totally agree with you. I also thank you for saying what you did about REDX. We've been in the
and by the
business
way, they're not
for
paying me for this, by the way. So
yes.
I'm not. It's not a plug, okay? I'm not. This is genuinely. It's just a great product. I love the product, so that's
Thank
that. So
you.
thank you.
Yeah, and I think that there is, and what we're going to talk about today, is a mix of the foundations that never are going to change. Like you need to have a good mindset. You need to have the right technology. You need to have the right tools. So there's some foundational content that you're always going to need, but also the ability to adapt and change because real estate is ever changing.
Ever
So
changing. You
yes,
know,
so
it's ever changing. So one of the important things that you just said, Haley, was that we're in a transition market here. I don't know what it's
yes,
like there, but in New York, the interest rates and the frenzy is over, right? Effectively, the frenzy is over here in New York City. I
right.
do business in other states through my Century 21 franchise connection. I know how my colleagues are having to adjust in New Jersey, in Pennsylvania, in Delaware, in Florida, in Texas, in so many of these other states, the Carolinas, when people tend to leave New York, I'm getting a lot of feedback from a lot of my colleagues elsewhere that, look, we are in a market transition. And I have to tell you, if you are a new agent, it is better to get started in a market where things are not going absolutely insane like they were over the last few years because anybody can make money in that market, right?
Right.
So I was a product of the 83 to 87 market. I made a small fortune as an 18-year-old going to college. It was great. I thought I knew it all. I thought I was the best in the business, only to find out that when 88 and the recession rolled around, I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And that's because I didn't have a basic foundation, and I didn't really have to have a foundation because these markets breed income. They breed
Yeah.
revenue. You don't take this personally, but you don't have to know you don't have to know much to make money when a market's going crazy like that. So these transition markets here, these markets that bring us kind of back to what reality is the best environment for you to learn, right? And always going back to the basics. So developing a business plan is a basic.
Mm.
I would hope that you all take the opportunity to really consider what you want out of real estate in the next 12 months. I mean, I tell my students I want to see a 1 year plan, I want a 3 year plan, and I want a 5 year plan. I want them to plan. One of the things that Haley and I were speaking about was, to me, the need to have a dream.
Mm.
Right. So
Yeah.
the problem with adults is they don't dream unless it's a bad dream, right? Most people you hear, I have dreams, but they're all bad dreams. I'm talking about when you're not sleeping and you have a dream. You want to get inspired, hang around kids because kids have dreams that are limitless.
Mm.
Right. This is when we all had some of our greatest dreams, right? I mean, you ask a kid what he wants to do, an astronaut, a doctor, something big and um just off the charts, out of control, big time stuff. And we tend to let life influence us to the point where we just forget to dream. So when I work with somebody on developing a business plan, the first thing that I suggest for them to do is I ask them, what is your dream? What is it that you want? Because to develop a business plan, it has to be specific. It has to be attainable.
Hmm.
You have to be working towards something that's going to drive you every day. So here's what I'd like for you to do is whatever your goal is, whatever your dream is, I want you to get an 8.5 by 11 picture of that. And I want you to put it in your office. I want you to put it in your kitchen, in your bathroom, wherever you spend the most time. And you need to have that visual. And another thing that I'm going to suggest that you do is if you haven't read or watched The Secret, I think that is an absolute necessity for people who are self-employed and are I mean, let's be honest, this is what we do, right? You might work for a broker, but it's still your business. You are self-employed. And if you want to start dreaming again and dreaming big, belief and attitude are such huge aspects of that. Haley and I were speaking about that before off camera, and it is the basis for success, is that who are successful have dreams and they don't give up, right? They're willing to work through the adversity, which is going to come. I'm not here to discourage you. You've all lived life long enough to know that there is going to be ups and downs. There are going to be things that come your way that knock you for a loop. They're going to knock you off course. Don't give up. You know, so that's why having this dream, I always tell my students, I want an 8.5 by 11 picture of your goal. I want to know what you are going to be working towards. You should want to know, well, I don't know. I don't want anything. I don't need anything. That's not true. I don't think that's, everybody. Then you know what? You might need to consider to take a step back and do some soul searching to figure out exactly what it is you want. What it is that and I was telling Haley this before, you should have 3 goals: a personal goal, a family goal, and a personal goal. One for you, which is paramount, to be quite honest with you. You got to take care of you first.
Mm-hmm.
This concept of me, it's all about me. Well, it might not be all about you, but if you want to succeed in your family life, if you want to succeed in your personal life, you have to take care of you. You have to take care of you.
Yeah.
Physically, mentally, mind and body. And this is where the secret comes in as well. It's mostly having to do with your state of mind and your belief in what you can do. Because a lot of people don't believe that they can reach these crazy heights of success. Well, guess what? If you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably what? You're probably right.
Yep.
But here's what you need to understand is that if anybody can, you can. If anybody can, I can. I tell myself that every day. One of the things I also said to Haley was this master salesperson's pledge. I am a master salesperson, and as such, I am guided to do and to say the same thing, the things that contribute to my success. Each day I walk and talk like the master salesperson I am. Each day my code of conduct directs my activities. Each day I take the steps that lead me closer to my goal. Each day I accept adversity as friendly foes and learn from them. Each day, when asked the secret of my success, I gladly take the time to share from this moment on. Anything that happens in my best interest because I am a master salesperson. I know I just ramble that off, but I say that to myself every day as a constant reminder that, you know what? I'm a master salesperson. And I'm not there just yet. This is one of my goals. This is one of my aspirations, that I want to be as good as I can be with what I do, right? So when it comes to the business planning, make sure that whatever goal you set for yourself is specific.
Mm-hmm.
So your personal goal might be that you want to get to the gym or get into better shape, right? And that's all you're going to see on TV and on the radio now from now until like the end of January is Planet Fitness and Retro and all these other, companies who are getting in your face because they realize that people kind of start to soul search at the end of the year and the beginning of a year. It's the beginning of a new year, and you want to do, people have goals. And typically, one of the biggest goals for people, at least personally, is to get into shape, right? Your mental shape relies on your physical shape, and your physical shape relies on your mental. They are intertwined, right? So my personal goal usually is to be more like, I like to do things, maybe do some more reading, do more meditating, do more things that feed me and my soul.
Yeah.
I go to the gym most every day anyway, so that really wouldn't be a new goal for me, but it's always about personal improvement. My family goal is, we want to go to Jamaica this summer. We want to go to Italy. I collaborate with my children and my family, even though two of the three are out of the house, we still want to do things as a family. So
Right.
where do you want to go this summer? What do you want to do? And that's a goal. And that gives me the fact that everybody wants to do that and we can do that together. That drives me, that motivates me. So it's not just the business. And of course, you need to have an income goal. And one of the things that I want you to consider when you need or trying to set what your income goal is, and this is what a lot of people don't do, is they don't know how much money they actually need.
Right.
Right, Haley? They don't. You know why? And I'll tell you why. They don't have a budget. They don't really know. Do most people really know what they spend? I would probably say not. And it's a challenge to keep track of what it is. So when I've sat down and done business plans with companies or their agents, they're like, well, I'd like to make $100,000 a year. All right, well, let's do a budget. And it turns out that they need 130,000 just to break even. So the 100,000 is good, but it's not gonna. It's gonna leave them with a deficit. They're gonna need to find a way to at least. And you know what? It goes so far beyond that, because I don't know about you, but as a real estate professional, I don't get a 401k. I don't get medical coverage. I don't get money put away for my kids' education. So when I have my budget, it includes a slush fund, like for emergencies. It includes a vacation fund because we like to go away every year. It includes money for my kids' educations. And my retirement. My real estate career doesn't come with a retirement package. I don't know, but does yours? So it's not about just making enough money to make ends meet now. It's a matter of, you need to think beyond that. And I can also send Haley, I have a couple of a business, it's like a worksheet, and it's a business, I'm sorry, to establish your budget. So it's a personal budget and a business budget and a personal budget. And you can, when you start to fill this thing out, you realize, holy moly, man, look at all the money I'm spending, or I didn't really realize that, and there are line items on that you can fill in where you might have never considered. Oh yeah. I mean, everything is on my budget personally.
Yeah.
And business wise, for marketing, for business. I mean, it goes down to the last little thing that I need for my work. So I'm going to send that off to Haley. Maybe she can send that off to you guys. I have a personal budget and a business budget that I think will really help you. And I also sent Haley what I call an income converter. And basically, you have at the top, it begins with how much money you want to make, $150,000 a year. And it breaks it down into actual daily activity, into the actual number of calls that you need to make a day, the actual number of prospects that you need every day, the number of listing appointments you're going to need. And, I'm a little bit extreme in terms of my business, because I don't work with buyers. I mean, I have a team, so we do work with buyers, but I have agents who do open houses and take buyers out. I really don't do that. My concentration is to develop a listing inventory. Everybody should have their own listing inventory. I'm not talking about your office. I'm talking about each individual agent. When I encourage my students to do, the ones that I train and coach, is you need to set a goal for how many listings you want in your listing inventory, because they're not all going to sell. If you want 3 transactions a month to close or 4 transactions a month to close, you might have to have 8 to 10 to 15 listings in your personal inventory at any given time.
Right.
So you have to be able to break that down into the number of appointments you need. How many appointments do you need to go on to get one listing? And how many calls do you need to make to just get one appointment? And how many appointments are you going to need to get that? So the income converter that I shared with Haley, and hopefully she can get out to you. I think, and it's line by line, divide this by that, multiply this by that. I think it'll work out pretty well for you. But you have to be organized, and it's got to be systematic. So make
Yes.
sure that your goals are attainable. They're in writing. You can't go into this business every year and just say, you know what, I don't need an income amount. I'm just going to work as hard as I can and make as much as I can. That's not really going. I've done that before, by the way. My 40 years has given me a lot of time to screw things up. Really, I'm not kidding you. Um, I've spent a lot of time doing things wrong, but I've also learned from that and tried to roll that into something positive. But I do suggest your income, your goal, whatever it might be, whether it be personal goal, whether it be a family goal, or a business goal, is make as specific as it can be. Make sure it's attainable, and write it down, and have like visuals that show. Like, I have a vision board that's right next to me. I'm not going to rip it off the wall and hang it up to you, but I have a vision board. This reminds me every day to dream, because adults just don't dream enough.
Mm.
They feel, I think people feel like, well, I dreamt a lot as a kid. I had dreams as a kid. We should all have dreams to this day. So I would suggest having things visually around you. If you can, create a vision board where I want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I look at it. I just turn right now and I look at it and I'm like, you know what? It gives me energy. It gives me motivation. And your goal has to be something like that gives you
Mm.
drive, that makes you want to do the things that you don't want to do. And as real estate professionals, there's a heck of a lot of things that we don't want to do. I Listen to me. If anybody tells me, yeah, I love prospecting, I love getting on the phones and calling for sale by owners and expired listings, it's the highlight of my day, they are either lying or need to be in therapy, because this is just not normal, right? I mean, yeah, I can't wait to wake up and get rejected again today. This is not, that's why I think it takes a special person to do what we do. Honestly,
Mm.
it's you are to do real estate as a career is, I think, a very special calling. And I think it takes a very special person to be successful in this business and be consistently successful, not just have a great couple of months and then, we flounder for a couple of months. The idea is to be is to be a consistent earner. And to do that, you need to do these activities every day. You got to go onto your REDX every day. You have to download your expired. Well, they do that for you, your expireds and for sale by owners, but you have to make a commitment, just like it's an appointment, like you're having surgery today. Would you miss that appointment? No. Well, you have to treat your prospecting time just as
Mm.
much as you would any other commitment that you have. And I try to do it first thing in the morning, because as the day unfolds, and things start to get away from me, I find out that if I wait until the latter part of the afternoon or the evening, I might not do it, or I get so sidetracked and get behind. So another suggestion that I have is do the thing that you like the least first.
Mm.
And I like prospecting the least. I'm doing it consistently for a lot of years. I've come to basically accept it.
Yeah.
And when I'm on the phone and I speak to the people, I'm upbeat, I'm enthusiastic, I have a smile in my voice. I sound excited to be able to speak to them, which is a huge part of prospecting. But inside, I can't tell you that I'm like, oh, I'm so thrilled that I get the opportunity to call more people. It's just not. It's to me, that's not normal. If you can do that and it makes you really happy and it fulfills you, God bless you. But for me, it's always been, I don't want to say a struggle, but that part of the job seems like a job. It sounds that's to me, that's the toughest thing. And I think it's the most neglected thing by most people.
Mm, yeah.
So I think I've been yapping enough here, Haley. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be a joint thing, right? I'm sorry.
No, this is great. I've been writing notes this whole time, so like it's really interesting. You've talked about a lot of things. So I just want to recap really quick about how you talked about mindset and developing a business plan and what kind of goals you need to set. And I really liked putting things in front of you, like your goals and a vision board and things like that. The psychology of seeing something in front of you.
It's huge.
Yeah,
Visualization, Haley, is critical. It is.
exactly. And so I did have a question because, a lot of people around this time of year are getting really excited to set new goals and resolutions and things to really kick off the year strong. It's when you get into about month 4, 5, and 6 that you kind of lose that motivation. You might be behind on your goals, so then it's just feels like they're out of reach. I want to ask you, you've talked a little bit about this, but how can you stay disciplined throughout the entire year to make sure that even though you have a fire now, it's going to burn out
Yeah.
because that's what happens. So tell
Yeah.
me,
Expect ups and downs, Haley. You know
yeah.
what? We all do get sidetracked, and the person that I am today is not the person I was years ago. It takes time to develop that discipline.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah.
all these health clubs and gyms that want you to join starting like January 1st, they're just hoping that you join and don't show up, because that's where they really make money, right?
Right.
But it's just continue to dream, just continue to have your. I mean, if when I have a day that I just don't want to do anything, and listen to me, that happens. Right? I have ups and downs. There are days I look back on my day and say, you know what, Vin, you could have, you should have, you dragged your feet. No one is, my opinion, no one is laser beam focused 100% of the time.
Right.
And the other thing is that other things affect your work, your relationships, your family, your kids, your spouses, all these other things come into play, and they throw things sometimes out of balance.
Hmm.
So I would always say to you, have something specific in writing and make sure that every day, you look at that income converter that I just sent you, you look at that picture of your goal, whatever you need to have around you to allow you to refocus. Because in a lot of cases, it's going to be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. And that is what life is all about. The most successful people in this world have failed more than you and I will ever fail. It's the
Right.
truth. You just never hear of that. You never hear about the setbacks. You never hear about the failures. So all I can tell you is I wouldn't be surprised if it takes time to get into a rhythm. It took me a while to get into a consistent, disciplined rhythm. But understand that real estate is in my opinion, it's such a dream job. The opportunities that you have with real estate, the flexibility of time, the ability to call your own shots when you want to work, when you don't want to work, just to have control of your life. That's just one of the greatest things about real estate is that real estate has benefited my family life and my personal life because I can call the shots on when I want to go to the gym or when I want to take off and go to this. And it's that's a dream. Most people don't have that gift with their work.
Right.
They're 9 to 5, and that's fine, by the way. Thank God real estate isn't for everybody. So everybody has their own niche. But for people who want to do real estate, it's easier said than done. Just don't give up. That's why it's so important to have that dream. That's why it's so important to have it
Mhm.
in writing. That's why it's so important to have that 8.5 by 11 picture of your goal. Something to constantly refocus or allow you to, it kind of brings you back because you're going to drift. I drift. Everybody is going to, I don't want to say slack off or drift, but that's the way that's life, folks. So when that happens, it's not all over. And understand that everybody fails, right? Everybody you know, is going through the same thing. So you could have a great month and then the next 2 or 3 months stink. Maybe because of the market, maybe because you've had bad luck with deals falling apart, maybe because whatever it might be. It might be maybe because we slacked off. Every day is a new opportunity, folks. Every day is a new opportunity at life. So it's not every day is you're not going to live. We are not going to live every day to our fullest. We are not. We're not going to appreciate every day. But one of the things that I also want you to consider as you go through all of this is learn gratitude. Be grateful for what you have. I know life is not easy. I know a lot of people have a lot of challenges in their lives, physically, emotionally. Mental health is at the forefront. More and more people suffer from mental health. But what I try to do to combat that, because through COVID-19 and losses that I've had personally with friends and family and all, is to I do a lot more physical activity, and that does help the mental part of the. Just don't give up. I know that's easier said than done, but Haley, you're right. There are going to be days that we drift. There are going to be weeks and months that we completely get off track. Um, that's just going to be life. But what I would always suggest is have some. That's why this having a dream is so critical. That's why having that goal, that whatever it might be, that drives you, that motivates you. I have my last kid going to college. I don't want him out with debt. That's a major motivator for me.
Mhm.
I've saved money for his college already, but it's never enough. Trust me when I tell you. I did it with the other two, and my other two are debt free. They have no debt. I that's a huge motivator for me. I don't want my kids starting out in life. My son Luke, he's the youngest one. The other two are older and out of the house already. There's a pretty significant age gap there. That's the other reason. But I want him to be able to do his college experience without having to worry about loans and all these other things. So that's a big motivator for me. So I don't know what drives everybody else, but find something that really drives you to overcome those days where we tend to be a little bit more lazy. We tend to be a little bit, more whatever it might be. But expect setbacks, folks. This is not. It's never smooth sailing. Anybody tells you that, they're trying to sell you you know, a bill of goods. It just is not. It just doesn't exist.
Right.
Just and believe in yourself. I don't know that I can that there can be anything more important than that, is to believe in who you are and believe in yourself, because if anybody can, you can. So there it
Believe.
is.
I love it. Thank
Believe.
you so much. We are at the end of the time that we've had today, which is crazy. Kind of went by fast, but that's how it
Sorry, a
goes.
lot of yapping on my end.
No, it's great. I am so thankful that you have shared all of these things. I do want to tell people for the resources that Vincent sent me, if you want those, all you need to do is email us at marketing@theredx.com and we'll make sure that we get all of those over to you. So if you're interested in any of that, be sure to email us. But before we sign off, Vincent, do you have any final words, last thoughts that you want to share with our audience today?
I just wish everybody well through the holiday season. A Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy New Year. And I always this, but if anybody can, you can. I just believe that the successes that I have been gifted with is, I think, more so as a result of belief and discipline. And my life is discipline. I mean, I've never had another job or another career. Since I'm 18 years old, I'm doing real estate. And the only way to make it work, at least for me, was just to learn how to schedule my time. So I schedule my prospecting time. I do prospecting 5 days a week. So it's typically 8:30 to 11 o'clock, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I literally schedule it like it's an appointment, and I make sure that because if it's not down, folks, if you don't put things in writing and if you don't commit to do it, it's not going to happen. Trust me, I've been there. So I would just say be organized, be consistent, and utilize the technologies that are available. Use Top Producer or some CRM. If you're not living with a CRM, you'll never be able to properly organize yourself. Use REDX. There are other lead services that you can use as well that maybe focus on different things than REDX, like seller leads, buyer leads, and all these other things. You need to incorporate technology and use it every single day, because your competitors are using it every single day, and you call one day too late and that for sale by owner is already listed with somebody else, just because. So that's why that consistency is critical. So I think that's it. That would be my last piece. I wish I had more time with you folks. I could go on for, as Haley knows, I could go on. I could go on forever. But there's very little. I enjoy this more than almost any other part of the real estate business these days. Is collaborating and sharing my experiences with my colleagues, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here and listen. It means the world to me. So thank you very much for the opportunity, Haley.
Of course. Thank you, Vincent. Of course, we'll have you back on to talk about more things. I mean, you have a wealth of knowledge. And so, and you've been in the business for a while, so you know what works and what doesn't. So everybody that is watching today or listening, however you are listening to this podcast, I would take what Vincent is saying and start implementing it right now, because he's been in the business for a while. He knows what he's talking about. So I would take his advice, please. That would be.
It would be always an honor to come back and do more stuff. Really, it's my pleasure, Haley. She's
Awesome.
the best host in the world.
Oh, thanks. To everybody that is watching, if you want to continue conversations like this, you can go over to our Facebook page called The Lead Gen Conversation. Of course, we are always here every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time. That's 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. For all of you wonderful people, if you want to subscribe, of course, go to redx.com/podcasts. You can see us there. And of course, email us at marketing@theredx.com if you want the resources that Vincent has sent me.
I would do that, actually. Some of these I spent years developing, folks, and they really do work. And if you use them, I think they will be a great help to you. So God bless you all, and the healthiest and the happiest of the holiday season. Thanks again, Haley. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. We'll see everybody next time.
Take care.